Hi, my name is Rod Cleef, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Cleef, and I'm thrilled you're here. And I know that you're going to get tremendous value from the ball of fire that I'm interviewing today. And it's going to be a really cool interview because this woman has moved to Costa Rica and is living off of her passive income from her investments in Costa Rica, which I happen to love. Went there on a mastermind, about a year ago, but very excited to have her on the show. Her name is Becca Hint. Her website is hintinvestments.com. And, she brings a lot of experience, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. Welcome to the show, Becca.
Oh, thank you, Rod. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm an avid listener of your podcast. And you're one of the first guys when I started my multifamily journey I listened to. So I consider you my multifamily Tony Robbins when I listen to your Own Your Power clips.
That's funny. Yeah, some people don't know I spent 20 years following Tony Robbins around the planet. And a shout out to Tony. If you ever have an opportunity to see him live, just do it. Trust me, you'll thank me. So you're in Costa Rica, which I freaking love. Went there for a mastermind. Some of my warriors host a mastermind called Secret X, and that was one of the locations we went to, and just had a blast. And why don't you tell us your story and how you're able to live in a boutique surf and yoga hub in Nosara, Costa Rica now? Okay, so take us from your beginnings in the business, in the real estate business, through to today.
You bet. My pleasure. So my husband and I were medical device sales reps, been in that business for 17 years. Great job, good gig, company car, big expense account, big money, lots of hours put in, but that's not a passive gain, as you know. So therein lies the problem. And as you know, when things just become a bit uncomfortable, it's time to start looking around for a change. So I ventured into multifamily kind of simultaneously, straddling my sales career in multifamily, and realized that I love this business and passive income is the way to go. When things became so uncomfortable with the pandemic, with the situations at school, we're from California, Bay Area, and so they were really strict there, things in lockdown. And I'm looking at my kids on Zoom calls, and I said to my husband, you know what? Have you ever calculated how much it costs to live in your home every day? And have you calculated the arbitrage of if you rent your home and look at all your passive income, how you can live in another country? And if you went to another country, a beautiful place like a surf and yoga hub in Costa Rica, you can live like a king, and it's not a minimized version of what we knew in the Bay Area. Back at home, everything was, the closed down schools, the lessened sports activities. When you're in a new place, everything's new. We don't know a minimized version. So that was just one of the drivers in making this move, and a bit of our mental journey. My husband, he did the same thing. He's quit his job in the Bay Area, and guy looks 10 years younger. It's a tremendous improvement in his health physically and internally. So It's been such an amazing journey for us.
No, that's astounding. Well, let's talk about your multifamily, because that's what we do here. And your lifestyle is just off the chain and everybody's dream. And a lot of people dream about it, but actually never take action on it, even very often when they have the money and the ability to do so, myself included, frankly. And I'm blessed to live in Florida, which is, isn't terrible, but it doesn't have that feel like Costa Rica does with mountains and things of that nature. So, we'll probably circle back to that, but let's talk multifamily for a minute. Right now, I know you've got you're doing a hotel to multifamily conversion, which is kind of become very popular lately. So, and I haven't really talked about it on the show at all. So why don't you talk about, how that came to be, how you found it, and how you identified it as a possibility for this, and then just give us some detail.
Sure, you bet. I love this space, the hotel to multifamily conversion space. It's really a lot of fun. And we started this journey in the pandemic when we saw these small hotel chains really failing. And these are the ones to target, the smaller ones, the Quality Inn, the Days Inn, the suites, because they come with kitchens. So we found this deal in a tertiary market in Arizona. And we were able to secure the deal we bought it for about 30 cents on the dollar in what you could get a typical multifamily for.
Wow.
Because these hotels are valued on, several different metrics, but one of them, of course, being occupancy. And so there was nobody traveling at that time. The owners of hotels are often, mom and pops. So, they're struggling. They're often struggling with these anyways. So yeah, we found an amazing opportunity. We bought this deal for 1.7. Hotels are tremendous lifts, something to know, and we can get into there. We're putting about 1.7 in. Sometimes you look at these deals and say, well, should I bulldoze it over? Should I fix it up? But in this case, we fixed it up. And
so again, to repeat, you paid 1.7 and you're putting 1.7 in. Did I hear that correctly?
You heard that correctly. That's not always the case. It's a bit of a coincidence here, but
yeah,
plan on these hotel conversions. They're heavy lifts.
Right.
And many things to plan for in these kind of things is the zoning changes. You can plan on a big bill, often having to hire a zoning consultant to approach the city and say, we're going from, a hotel to a multifamily, which is different zoning. We lucked out with our deal in Arizona, is that it's the same zoning.
Okay.
I have another friend doing a conversion in Phoenix, and it's costing him $500,000.
Just for the zoning. Okay. Got it.
Well, when you approach zoning, as I'm sure you know, sometimes they say, okay, I want you to put in a new fire hydrant and so
right. Yeah. Or, fire suppression, that becomes almost over the top too much. I was looking at doing this with assisted living, converting hotels to assisted living, and the fire suppression pretty much knocked it out for me because, you need more time to get, grandma out of the building, which makes sense. Versus, somebody that, somebody doesn't need help to get out and won't be slow to get out. So doing the math, I know that you took 100-unit motel and you're converting it to 65 multifamily units. So basically you'll be in it at under 50,000 a door once you're complete, if I did the math right. Now, correct. So tell me this, are they going to be studios? Are there going to be some ones? What's the unit mix going to be since you're reducing the count?
Right. Great question. We originally looked at this and said, yay, 100 rooms.
Right.
We're going to have 100 studios. But then, of course, can your market absorb 100 studios? And in this tertiary market in Arizona, it couldn't. Right. So we got our property manager involved very early. What we ended up with is 31 studios, 31 one bedrooms, and then just a couple 2 bedrooms because they were suites.
Getting that many 1 bedrooms. Well, that's fantastic. And you can get all that done for 1.7 million?
You can.
I'm really surprised by that. I have to tell you that seems really cheap to me, especially with construction. I mean, with building supply costs going up through the roof and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, it's very doable, and you have a lot of your things there already.
So did these have kitchens? Were there kitchens there?
No.
Wow.
But what we're doing, and this is really great in hotels, you're knocking out that wall from the bathroom that goes into the typical hotel bedroom. So right there is where you plug in your kitchenette to utilize the plumbing on that wall. And then in hotels, you're closing up one door because you have 2 entrances. So you're combining the rooms. So you end up with all these doors. You end up with 100 doors. And you're like, where do we put these doors? Well, you put those doors on the 1 bedrooms that you're going to enter. So there's a lot of reusing supplies. One thing, though, that you mentioned quite astutely is the fire issues, right. and especially for assisted living. For us, it cost us about $185,000 to put fire sprinklers.
Oh, so that's all it cost you. Wow. Well, that's not bad. Okay. That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
I got bigger bids than that when I was looking. So, well, now, what's the age of this motel? Just curious.
This one is 70s, I believe. I think it's
70s build.
78.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
70s build.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, so you were smart. You involved a property management company, so who's got their ear to the ground, guys. That's a clue. You always involve your property management company early because they know, what that market demographic wants. I remember, buying an asset in Dallas that was all 1-bedroom units. This is 280 doors. And I was very concerned because I like to see a unit mix, but this place has been 100% occupied since day one because that's what that demographic there needs. And so you bring your property management company, and that was very astute of you to do that.
Yeah.
And so when do you anticipate being completed with this project?
We should be completed this year.
Wow.
So the lift is, and these are heavy lifts that your audience needs to know and that you experience too. They're heavy lifts done with bridge financing because, Fannie and Freddie won't touch it.
Right.
So we're estimating probably the last quarter of this year. We've just had some flooring and paint go in last week. So the units are looking amazing. This is a fun deal since you have so much, you're getting these at such a good price. You're getting these 30 cents on the dollar, so a 70% discount. You can run different structures in the deal. So our financial structure here is syndication. Everybody puts in their money. Refinance at about the 3-year mark. We all get out about 70% of their money. Mm-hmm. And then there's still just so much meat on the bone that about the 6-year mark, we're all getting the other 30% back. And then we keep it as a legacy asset. So it's mailbox money for 10 years. And as you know, Rod, as you get into this business for longer, you find yourself flipping multifamilies. So
yeah, not me. There's a reason my podcast is called Lifetime Cash Flow. Your model is exactly our model as well. And get our investors all or most of their money back and then just ride the cash flow. But so you're going to do the same thing with this asset, which is fantastic. Now let me ask you this.
5 year.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. That's ours as well. In a value add play like that. Now you have a lot of meat on the bone with your deal at that price point. Now let me ask you this. Now, did the hotel have like a kitchen area? Are you doing what sort of amenities are you doing with any common area that you have?
Yes, there's so many things you can do with a common area. So you have the entrance area that we're doing like a lounge and a place for people to sit down and do their computer work. But I know other developers, like in the Austin area, that they cater to millennials and they convert that whole area into sort of a digital nomad hub where people can come in and they rent the services by day as a workspace there. Right.
I just looked at an asset here in Sarasota where they did that, and surprisingly, it's not utilized at all, and it's probably 2,000 square feet. And so, if we take a stab at that asset, we'll probably repurpose that space because it's just not being used. This is downtown Sarasota, actually. But so did the place have a pool or just really not many amenities to speak of?
No, it had the full amenities of just a small hotel. So it had a pool. We needed to redo the pool, redo the decking. We needed to put in fire hydrant because then you need a fire hydrant to support all the sprinklers that you're then putting in. Ah,
okay. That's why the fire hydrant. Okay. All right. And okay. Well, fantastic. So you just syndicated it and did it. Now let's talk, now that's the first conversion you've ever done, right?
First conversion. Yep.
Right. Now, did you have a partner that's a GC or someone with some experience, or you just said, let's just do it and see how it goes?
No, don't do that. As you know, and I'm so glad you asked. We have partnered with an experienced GP that lives in Arizona, boots on the ground.
Okay.
And these guys are the heavy lift operators.
Okay.
That are in that market.
All right. And did you hire a GC or is a GC part of the team?
Excellent question too. So on this deal, we have a comparable property that we know the owner 5 minutes away. The property management company we're using had a general contracting side that did the renovation for our comparable property. So
Perfect.
they came in with all their resources. We were able to bring in some efficiencies in doing our own cabinets, bringing in our own electrical people, and bringing in our own pool people. But the rest, we left it to them.
That's pretty involved, though. I mean, the fact that you're doing some of those pieces, that's very process specific, because sequencing comes into play, and anything that delays any piece of that sequence screws everything up, because you can't paint after you put your cabinets in. You can't paint, you can't put your flooring in before the paint, and things of that nature. So the sequencing is critical. So, that you added a wrinkle to your, I mean, obviously you're saving money doing what you're doing, but there are some logistical hurdles with what you just described.
Absolutely. And on these heavy lifts, that's something to think about.
Right.
Logistical hurdles, the cost of money of bridge lending during that time. Then there's so many things that come ahead of it, is that you have to, one is see if the zoning is even realistic. Two, negotiate with the franchise, because you have to buy out the quality in franchise. And that price can range from $30,000 to $150,000, depending on which franchise you're talking with.
Interesting. Okay. So some other pieces there. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if I have any other questions. I'm fascinated. Part of this is just for my own personal enjoyment, because again, this is something I haven't really talked about much on the show. What's the parking like there? What sort of parking do you have? And do you have enough for all the units, or is that an issue?
Here's another fun thing with hotel rooms or hotel conversions. You have a ton of parking.
Okay.
We have a ton of parking. We have 2.5 to, I think, almost about 2.5 parking spaces per each unit.
Fantastic.
Another thing is the signage. You're often limited in multifamily in what size sign you could put up. With hotels, you inherit this huge sign.
That's right.
In neon lights. Come live here.
Wow, love it. Okay, and you're on a busy street typically as well.
Busy street,
right?
Yeah, so everybody sees you.
Are you looking for other opportunity in this space, or?
I love hotels, really. Aside from, living in the tropics and living off passive income, hotels is probably my second favorite subject. I continue to look. The financing, as this market is changing a bit, kind of frightens me a bit, since this is all bridge lending and the heavy lift nature of these deals. You must be partnered with an experienced sponsor, and that experienced sponsor has to have a solid general contractor. Well, circling back to something you just said, the financing environment right now is super scary. Okay. In fact, and guys, as we record this, I don't know when this episode will air, the interest rate just went up 50 basis points, 0.5% interest yesterday, which is, staggeringly high. And the Fed is anticipating another 5 increases. So, in fact, we just, in my Warrior mentorship program, literally, that was our coaching call yesterday to tell everyone, yes, we want to help you build your portfolio. And right now you need to be very, very careful. And so it was kind of like a shot across everybody's bow to be very, very conservative right now, to make sure that you, in your pro forma, you calculate these likely increases in your interest rate, because right now bridge debt's pretty much all that's out there, unless you're really raising a lot of money. And bridge debt's all adjustable. It's all on a 3 or 5 year term, or a 3 year term with 2 1-year extensions. And I got to tell you, and you'll always end up having to buy a rate cap. And our rate cap on a deal we're looking at right now, I can't say where it is, but it's a $40 million deal. Our rate cap is $1 million. Okay. Just to cap the freaking interest rate. Painful. Buckle up, everyone.
Right. So no, it's time to be very, very careful and not be as aggressive. And I see some of these deals that are happening right now. I'm like, there is no freaking way those investors are going to get the returns they were promised. It's just not going to happen. And I don't ever want to be in that situation. So, it's kissing even more frogs right now to try to find a deal. But no, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I really wanted to mention that publicly about just this current lending environment is, and in fact, that on our next Warrior coaching call, we're going to go through, how to stress test the lending on a deal right now, which we've done before, but it's time to do it again right now. And you know a couple of Warriors in my program, I think you said.
I do. I know a couple of your Warrior students, and they love it. Yeah,
Oh,
a couple
thank you.
good friends that they're having such a great experience.
Oh, that's kind of you to say that. Yeah, I'm super proud of something. I've been teaching, a little over 4 years, and they own somewhere between 60 to 70,000 doors now. And it's just like my greatest accomplishment. It's not even my accomplishment, but it's something I'm very, very proud of. Next to my kids, probably most proud of, just their incredible success. And, it's this living, breathing thing. And it's just a lot of fun. So
it's amazing, and as it
yeah.
should be. It's interesting, the journey that people are on is initially, you get out there in the world and you just need to make enough money to keep the lights on. Then you
Right.
find yourself working so much, you're figuring out a way, how could we put this income on autopilot? Then
Right.
once you have the income, then you're faced with, oh, how do I solve this tax problem I have? And then when you get all of those box checked, you reach a point like you are, is how can I help the greatest amount of people with the greatest efficiency?
Yeah.
And it's nice when you reach that point.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Well, it's not all roses and glory and positive. Let's talk about some seminars that you may have had in the past. You know which one I'm talking about because we talked about it before we started recording. Talk about your Kansas City project, please.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, it's be a whole podcast in itself. I was just invited to a podcast called The Real Estate Unsuccess Stories. And I thought, I don't think I should be flattered about this invitation.
That's funny. That's funny. I'd be the poster child on that one. Let me tell you.
You and I both. Oh, gosh. You got to really cut your teeth on some of these smaller deals. And this was the second deal I entered into. It was a 12 unit in Kansas City. It was 1 block away from a great area. 1 block. The path of progress only needed to move, but something to know on path of progress. Does that path of progress move within your projected hold time? And in this case,
that's the key to the whole thing. It will move, but it can be a very long process.
Yep. And in this case, it was 10 years.
Let me interject something real quick. So guys, anytime you can capitalize on a gentrification, it can be enormous. I'll give you an example. I had, it's kind of a funny example. And then I want to get back to your 12 unit here, but it was just a house that I bought in Northwest Denver. And I paid $56,000, flipped it for 76, made a quick hit, but then the market crashed. And I bought that same house back for $18,000. True story, same exact house. Then I ultimately sold it for $160, but then the area gentrified. It's an area called Highlands. It's now worth $1 million. So here's a house I paid $18,000 for at one time that is now $1 million. Anyway, so back
Amazing.
to so yeah, but it's a long play. This is talking 40 years ago, 35 years ago, and that doesn't always have to take that long. But there are areas in Denver you could buy whole blocks for $20,000 a house. Yes. These are antebellum 100-year-old homes that are now $1 million plus every single one of them. So, you have to deal with the crack and the murders and all the other stuff that goes along with it, and have really thick skin for a good bit of time. So anyway,
that's
back
right.
to you.
And that's
Please.
what I didn't have. And that's so well put. Can you hold out with thick skin long enough?
Right.
And same on this deal is that the path of progress, the gentrification happened. It happened at a 10-year mark. I sold this property I bought it for $250, sold it for, $300 a couple of years later. But I was on a women's call the other day. A gal was bidding on it for $950,000 with 10 bids on this. What was a debatably C- property then?
We don't want to compare those stories. I got to tell you, I had 500 houses in Denver at one time that I sold to buy here in Florida. And if I still had those, I'd be netting $1 million a month right now. Bottom line net. Yeah. But I wouldn't have met my wife. So again, that's life is about meaning, guys. Remember, you've heard me say it. You place the meaning on stuff, even the stuff that may not outwardly look very pleasant, but you decide what the meaning is. And
really do.
And that's how you enjoy it.
Journey. You really have to embrace the journey.
So let's dig into that seminar that you had with that 12 unit, Becca. So talk about some of the hurdles you had to overcome and maybe some of the lessons learned.
You bet. Well, This is a C property, as I mentioned, debatably C minus. And I ran into some of the typical problems that operators do with this class of tenants will often move out in the middle of the night, or they're behind on rents, then they catch up. And the whole thing is just kind of limping along. When you sketch it out at a typical, 10% occupancy, the numbers look great. If you can have everybody there paying the rent, it looks great.
Right.
So, after 3 years.
You mean 10% vacancy?
I'm sorry, 10% vacancy.
Right,
yeah.
right. Okay.
Apologize. So 3 years down the road, I decided to change the property manager as things were just limping along. Well, I went from the fryer to the frying pan, and this next property manager that I ended up only keeping for 30 days was exchanging keys for services, is what I could figure out. He had given the keys to a topless dancer in one of the vacant units. Simultaneously, I'm trying to sell the building and just get out of this deal and stop the bleeding. So the broker walks in one of the units and he says, "Hey, Becca, that unit's vacant, the unit we're showing today." And I'm sorry, he says,
it's occupied.
It's occupied. It's not vacant. And I said, "What do you mean? The rent roll shows it's vacant." I don't know. He says, "There's some clothes in there and things." And I said, "Well, just throw them out. Let's move on." Next thing you know, I'm getting a call from an attorney saying there was a squatter in this unit, and there's squatters' rights in Kansas City. We're suing you for $10,000 for squatters' rights. You know what I said? I said, $10,000? I mean, we're just talking clothes replacement from the waist down.
So did you have to settle?
I'm a big proponent of wrongful eviction insurance, and this saved me.
Oh, wow.
Kansas City Farm Bureau gave her $500 to hit the road and move on.
Wow. Yeah. Property management in that size asset is very touch and go. A lot of turnover. A lot of times you'll get somebody has got a clue what they're doing, and I'm going to be a property manager, or they're a broker and they decide they want to be a property manager. And some are good, but most aren't. And they also, they'll kill you on the maintenance costs. Maintenance becomes a profit center for them. They'll hire a kid at $15 an hour and bill them out at 75. And, so it's just, there are a lot of pitfalls and in that size asset, the property management solution for that size asset. So, okay. The big issue was the tenant demographic, the turnover, the slow payments, the no payments, the evictions, the trashing units when they moved out, all that stuff. Yes.
The typical things. Yeah. Typical things you have in these C units. And right. Also, as we just mentioned, is the business plan. Did the exit timeline match your business plan? And this was a speculative play in a path of progress. Well, they don't change in 3 to 5 years,
right?
To that extreme. They change in 10 and much longer. But one thing, Rod, I'm a big fan of buying in emerging markets. Mm-hmm. And this is what saved me on this deal. And it's what saved me on many, many deals that I own in San Francisco too. And while that's not a cash flow game, it's a solid appreciation play because mm-hmm. these markets just keep ticking up. And the time in Kansas City, I was able to bought at $250, sold for $300 in 2.5 years, which is not a bad return, but right. It's the bleeding that takes place. Meanwhile, that's the hard part.
It's the brain damage. Honestly, it's the amount of effort that you're putting in and stress and years off your life. And yes. That's probably what drove you to go to Costa Rica. Right. So, all right. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, and that's how you learn. I mean, that's how you learn. That's how it works.
It was such a training ground. It was such a seminar. And I really embraced that experience to know exactly what I don't want to do next time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's just my own money. So just my IRA money. So
right. Well,
retirement's even that farther out.
Yeah. It's all a learning experience, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
I embrace that.
So you're in Costa Rica. What does your day look like? Let's increase the pain for the rest of us here domestically. So what does a normal day look like for Becca Hint?
Oh gosh. Well, we wake up. My husband and I go surfing. We're on one of the best surf beaches in Costa Rica. There's a large sandbar that's right out at this very wide beach, so it has perfect rolling barrel waves. We got here, we didn't surf, so my husband and I said we got to keep up with our kids that are 11 and 12 years old. So we're learning to surf. The joke is we're really learning a wipeout and they're learning to surf, but we're getting out there. Then we go to this little yoga place that's 3 doors away and get a smoothie. And just it's heavenly. It's heavenly. The climate's perfect. We're in a blue zone area, Rod. I think you may be familiar with these, but these are places where there's the highest concentration.
Retirees?
No, people that live to 100 years old and above, that live the healthiest lifestyle. There's plenty of books on this, blue zones.
Wow.
Nosara, Costa Rica is one of those. Okinawa, Japan's another one. Sardinia, Sicily is another one. Sardinia, Italy. And then it's essentially the lifestyle of these people and what they eat allow them to live well beyond 100 years in good health.
Okay. We can't let that go by. So just give me a quick high level. What do they eat?
They eat very basic food. Very basic food from the farm. It's nothing fancy. In fact, it lacks quite a bit of variety. Lots of rice and beans, chickens that roam around on the farm, not very much animal products, not very much dairy, corn tortillas made from the corn that they grow. Wow.
Okay. We had a meal of all that when I was in Costa Rica, exactly what you just described. And it was okay. It was like, it was food, but it wasn't very dynamic.
No, it's not the foodie food, it's not a flavor explosion, but it's
right. Interesting.
Whole grain food
how are the kids acclimating? Is there decent schooling and stuff?
There's excellent
schooling. Or are you homeschooling?
No, that's exactly what I was running away from in the Bay Area, homeschooling. The kids attend an international baccalaureate school in between the jungle and the sea. It's a bilingual school. We've been working on Spanish for about 6 years with them, as I feel it's imperative for kids to have a second language, especially with the demographics changing in the U.S. such that 14 states in the U.S., the majority language is actually Spanish. By the time my kids are 30 years old, the entire country will have switched that more than 50% of the population in every state will speak Spanish. It's not to say they don't speak English, but for this reason, as a parent, it's imperative to at least have that base for your kids.
I agree.
And they're getting it here. Full immersion. They've met tons of friends. It was a tough move though, Rod. I mean, I drug everybody by their hair here. The kids are crying. The grandparents are crying.
Right. No friends. Are they happy now? How long have you been there now?
They're delighted now. They don't want to leave. We've been here since August, and it's
just since August, and they're already delighted. How's the healthcare there?
Costa Rica has socialized healthcare. So if you're Costa Rican and a resident here, you would get their healthcare. But most expats like myself, we just sign up for private healthcare, which is quite good. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, listen. Guys, this has been a real treat, Becca. Her website is hintinvestments.com, and what a life you're living. And the next time Tiffy and I come down, we will definitely need to connect with you down in Nosara. Now, I don't remember where we stayed, but I tried to remember the name and I couldn't remember it, but it'll come back to me.
Oh, we would love that, Rod. I would welcome it. And anybody who's seeking this kind of life, please reach out to me. This is very doable for your listeners. We are here supported 80% by passive income from our multifamily investments. You guys can do this too. It's a lot easier. You just have to make a decision and take massive action. That's it. Yeah. And here's a guy that'll lead you there.
That's right. All right. Love it. Well, listen, it's great to meet you. Thank you for coming on the show and adding value. And like I say, we'll definitely need to connect next time I go down there. Tiffy loved it as well, which is not always the case. So,
the pleasure's all mine, Rod. I'm glad my tropical background rivals yours.
That's right. All right. Well, listen, take care. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text